I was listening to Solomonster's Sound Off Extra Summerslam review, and I have to agree with him on a few things. First of all, for anybody that's slowly, if not already, turning against Roman Reigns, and because of the way that he's being presented, then you guys need to rethink your strategy. Let me put it to you like this. Just because Roman Reigns is being presented at times as being dominant, it doesn't mean that they're turning him into the next John Cena. You see, what they're doing with Roman Reigns is they're slowly building him up. I mean, honestly, if you want this authority storyline to come to an end, or if you want the authority from a storyline perspective to lose a lot of momentum, then who would you rather have beat Randy Orton? Who would you rather have beat Triple H in single matches? Even if Triple H's match has to be waited on until Hell in a Cell inside the cell. Who do you want to be the one to triumphantly beat them? Huh? Do you want John Cena to constantly continue being the hero? And be the one that, hey, I'm the one that beat the authority. I'm the one that ended the authority. Or I'm the one that caused them to lose momentum. Do you want it to be him? Do you want it to be someone like Hulk Hogan who, according to rumors, is considering getting back into the ring for one more match? Do you want it to be him by some freak reasoning? Do you want it to be the guy that you all were waiting for to get to WWE in some capacity, and now, in a sense, is here? Do you want it to be Sting? Well, that might be a more favorable choice, but here's the deal. You want it to be someone that's up and coming, has a lot of years ahead of him, and when people look back, and let's say you continuously push this guy as a babyface. Like I said, you continuously push this guy as a babyface. Then, like I said, you look years from now, and you have other stables, other factions that have power or that are gaining power, that have done this, have shown their dominance. Who is the one guy you're going to want to depend on or look back on and say, hey, we can depend on this guy because when he was just starting out and becoming a big deal, he beat the authority. He ended their reign of terror. Or he slowed down the authority and made them rethink the strategy or made them switch sides and go babyface. You want it to be someone that's young, up and coming, and that you're building to be the future of your company. And that's what they're doing with Roman Reigns. And that is why he's being shown that way. So that, like I said, years from now, let's say years from now, WWE does another storyline or so, which they probably will, involving another power faction, another power stable. And all of a sudden, the only person left to stop them is the guy that ended the authority. The guy that within consecutive months beat the top people in charge of the authority, the top people running roughshod over the WWE. I'm just saying. That is why they're building Roman Reigns up. So that when the day comes that he becomes WWE World Champion and his legacy, his star continues to grow, people can look back and say, hey, people can look back from a business standpoint and from a fan standpoint and an insighting standpoint and say, this is the guy that as his star started to really rise and he was being placed on the map, this is the guy that within consecutive months took out the authority. He beat Randy Orton once, if not twice, if they have a rematch of Night of Champions. Here's a guy that beat Triple H in one of Triple H's specialty matches, Hell in a Cell. Here's a guy that basically caused Kane to go back to being corporate Kane and thus go into retirement eventually. Here's a guy that if they go in this direction this year, at Survivor Series for the second year in a row, was the sole survivor and thus beat the authorities team and thus caused the authority to come to an end. Because I think that's the direction they're going to go in with that. But this is why he's being built this way. He's being built up this way. And a lot of you may not like it. A lot of you may not like it, and I don't blame you. I really don't. But the thing is, he's still growing from a business standpoint, so you got to let it be. And you know what's crazy, though? A lot of you also complain now that he has his 5 moves of doom. I think Solomonster said it best. Who has not? What major WWE star that was built up as the next big thing or as the next face and franchise of the company, who has not had 5 moves of doom? Huh? Hulk Hogan, of course, had it. Bret Hart had it. Let's see who else. Oh, The Rock's had it. Stone Cold, in a sense, has his moves of doom. Even your internet darlings, as people call it, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, have had their set in, the moves of doom, if you know what I mean. They have those. And yet, that's what you want to complain about? The fact that he's being built up too quickly, and now all of a sudden, one of the things that makes you not like him, or not or making you lose interest in Roman Reigns, is the fact that he's got 5 moves of doom or 4 moves of doom? Seriously, that's what you're going to complain about? That's stupid. The only reason you guys constantly complain about guys like Roman Reigns, even as he's being built up now, and he's got this, he's got that, said moves of doom kind of deal. The only reason you people complain is you've been spoiled. That's right, you've been spoiled. We are in an age, in a decade, in an era to where you guys, because of companies like Ring of Honor, Evolve, Dragon Gate, MMA companies like the UFC, Bellator, and some of the Pride FC when it was around, and even CZW, and a lot of the other indie promotions and territories. We are in a time and a place now that because of all those promotions and companies, we're in a time and a place, Ace, right now, that because of them, you have been spoiled because you expect to see the same thing that you see out of them, you expect to see the same thing come from the WWE. You expect every match to be like an indie, to be like an Evolve, Dragon Gate, and Ring of Honor match. You expect it to be, he got him, he hit the Frankenstein, 1, 2, we thought you had him. He hit the RK2, we thought you had him. Ooh. That's what you guys want. It's because of that you've been spoiled, and that is why you constantly complain about people like a Roman Reigns, even if the guy is continuously being groomed, his star is growing, and that from a business standpoint, he is growing. You guys continue to complain about that because it's not what you've seen elsewhere. And that is where you don't get the difference. That is where you do not see the difference between WWE and all the other promotions. WWE, whether you like them or not, and believe me, there are times that and believe me when I tell you this, I have not watched Raw visually for a few weeks. I mean, when I do watch it, I watch it, and heck, I enjoy it. I do enjoy it at times. But there are times I have not watched it because, yes, the storyline that's going on right now is repetitive. Yes, you pretty much know where the climax is going to come about, or how it's going to come about when it happens. You all know that. But the thing is, I still support the WWE because I grew up on the WWE, and I've come to realize that the WWE, throughout all the decades throughout the two and a half decades I've been a fan of this company. The 2.5 decades I've been a fan, I've grown up and I've come to realize the difference between them and every other company out there. Heck, you could even tell the difference between them and WCW when WCW was under the NWA banner. You could tell the difference. You could see the difference. And yet, nowadays, you guys expect everything to be exactly the same way you see it elsewhere. And you guys can't accept that. If you can't accept it, then why do you pay tickets to go to a WWE event? Why do you, not pay tickets, but why do you pay money or spend money and buy tickets to go to a WWE event? I'll tell you why you do it. I tell you why you do it. You do it because you love the WWE. You love wrestling. It's your passion for wrestling that you love the WWE, that you continuously go. And yeah, seeing people like, let's say, a Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, and if he ever comes back, a CM Punk, and a Seth Rollins and all that, and a Dean Ambrose, yeah, there's no doubt. There is no doubt in my mind that that's one of the reasons, some of the major reasons you go. But with that said, Ed, you need to realize the real difference. And the real difference is WWE does things the WWE way, and there's a lot of people that enjoy it, enjoy what they do. And then there are things that are done the other way, that are done the independent way, the real pro wrestling way. I mean, honestly, all you guys want, and this is the damn truth, all you guys want is for the WWE for one night to go to do nothing but pro wrestling, 5-star classic match, back to back. That's all you want in one night. I mean, I guarantee you, if WWE used to say, okay, this week on Raw, we're going to do a special all wrestling Raw, every match hopefully will be a 5-star classic, and if it turns out to be just like that at the end, you guys will be singing the praises of WWE because you would have gotten what you wanted. And the honest truth, with no disrespect to anybody, is because you guys have been spoiled. You got to know the difference. You got to know the difference. This is why you shouldn't this is why if you're still a fan of WWE and you're watching them, you should appreciate what they try to do. Either they make the right decisions or they don't make the right decisions. You should appreciate that they're trying to push a new face, a new franchise player in Roman Reigns. You shouldn't complain of, oh, he's just going to be another Super Cena, and oh, he's got his 4 or 5 moves of doom. No, don't do that. Think positively. Say, you know what? He may have these, he may be, think of it this way. Go like, yeah, they might be building him up to be like Cena, and yeah, he may have his 5 moves of doom or whatever, but at least he's someone new. He's someone fresh. He's someone young that's got years ahead of him. The same with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, 2 of your internet darlings. They're focusing a main event storyline on them. Hell, they were given the main event on Raw. Tells you how important the storyline is, and they're going to continue it for probably the next few weeks. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if Dean Ambrose's music hits, distracts Rollins starts losing a bunch of matches, then demands a match with Ambrose, possibly at Night of Champions, and said he even put the damn briefcase on the line to get one more shot at him. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went in that direction. But the point is, folks, what I'm trying to say is this. No matter how you look at it, no matter how I look at it, WWE is always going to be different from everybody else. You can't expect them to always be like Ring of Honor, Evolve, and Dragon Gate. You can't expect that. I mean, you look at NXT, that's probably the closest you're going to get. Now, with that said, one more thing I want to talk about. And this is something that the Schleg Daddy on OTRSCentral said in his Summerslam review. He asked the question of, are you happy? Are you happy, basically, that Brock Lesnar now is champion, knowing that he has a very limited schedule? Well, I'm sure a lot of you UFC guys that I mentioned earlier, that watch WWE and have been spoiled by UFC and all that, and expect to see that in WWE, I'm sure a lot of you are happy. I'm sure a lot of you Ruthless Aggression Attitude Era fans are happy. But will your happiness last? You see, that is the question. Will WWE basically risk the chance of having Lesnar as their champion, knowing he's got a very limited amount of dates? Knowing that if you look back last year at his schedule, his dates didn't involve certain pay-per-views that the champion is supposed to be on. Whether you agree with it or not, and whether Paul Heyman agrees with it or not, the WWE, and again, this is what sets them apart from all the other promotions, even UFC, they feel that they need to have their champion defending the title in some capacity at every pay-per-view. Because it's like an old saying, heck, they even say it in the damn video games. Anything can happen in the WWE, right? How will you feel if Brock Lesnar, he's got a match against Cena, a rematch against Cena at Night of Champions? We know that. But how would you feel if Brock Lesnar retains his title at Night of Champions? You'll probably be happy, right? Okay. You'll probably be happy. But how are you going to feel if the next time you see a WWE World Title defense, it's at the Royal Rumble? When you expect it, one, you can accept maybe, all right, we don't see it at Hell in the Cell, that's fine, no problem. But you expect to see it at Survivor Series, and yet you don't. How are you going to feel? How are you going to feel about that? You might say, from a traditional wrestling standpoint, oh, it's going to elevate the other titles, which means they got to elevate those that are holding those belts. Okay, fine. I can see your point there. But again, it goes back to the difference between WWE and other promotions. So the question is, are you happy? Are you going to be happy, like I said, if he retains at Night of Champions, and let's say his next title defense isn't until the Royal Rumble? Are you going to be happy about that? Let me explain something about why Lesnar won. Because they want him to look like an unbeatable force at the big pay-per-views. Because I've noticed one thing. When he performs on the B level pay-per-views, the B levels, sort of the Clash of Champions like pay-per-views, the in-your-house pay-per-views, which basically is what pay-per-views like Night of Champions evolved from. I want you to look at something. When he's been on the major pay-per-views, he has a decent record. He does. He won at Summerslam in 2013, last year. He lost at Mania. Okay, fine. All right, fine. He lost at WrestleMania. He won at Extreme Rules last year. Okay, that's fine too. He won at SummerSlam last year. Gee, what is that now? A-plus pay-per-views, 2 and 1. B-plus pay-per-views, 1 and 1. Royal Rumble, technically beat Big Show, 3 and 1. WrestleMania ended the streak, 4 and 1. SummerSlam this past Sunday, 5 and 1. So again, take a look at that, all right? Take a look at this. Okay? SummerSlam 2012. Extreme Rules, he loses. Extreme Rules 2012, he loses. He's 0-1. That's a B-plus pay-per-view. Let's take a look at it this way. Major A-plus pay-per-views, the big four. SummerSlam, he wins. He loses at WrestleMania. Fine. So he's 1-1 at major pay-per-views. At the major four pay-per-views. Okay? He's 1-1. SummerSlam later that year against CM Punk. He wins. He's 2-1. Royal Rumble, technically he wins that one. He's 3-1. WrestleMania, in a sense, ending the streak, he's 4-1. SummerSlam this past Sunday, 5-1. But then you take a look at the B pay-per-views, the B levels. Okay? You take a look at the B section of pay-per-views. All right? 1-1. So when you take a look at that big comparison there, you notice that he's fared much better at a Big Four pay-per-view than he has at the B levels so far. And true, he hasn't done that many B-level pay-per-views. So the question is, when you compare that record, those records to each other, and the difference is, what do you think is going to happen at Night of Champions? Well, he might get a second win at a B+ pay-per-view and go 2-1, which would overall record make him basically 6-2. Because right now his overall record is 5-2 at pay-per-views. 1 loss at Mania, 1 loss at Extreme Rules. So the question is going to be, will he go overall 6-2, which is 4-1 at the Big Fours and 2-1 at the In Your House like events? Or will WWE decide at the Big Four we got to make him look huge. We got to make him look like the attraction he is. He's got to go over. But at the B levels we'll just make him, we'll make him job. So do you think he's going to go 2-1 at the In Your House like pay-per-views, or do you think he's going to go 1-2? My speculation, because of his schedule, unless they were able to work something out, he's going 1-2. And I'm not saying that because I'm a fan of John Cena. I'm a fan of Brock Lesnar's too. But when you think about it, what was his first loss? You go back in history books, what was his first loss when he came back? To John Cena at Extreme Rules, basically an In Your House event. So it only makes sense that that happens again. In this way, you can build him up to get his rematch, maybe at Survivor Series, maybe at the Royal Rumble, where he can beat either John or whoever the champion is and take the belt into Mania. It makes sense. You would be making him basically a 2-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And overall, when you look at it, trying to count his other title reigns, 1, 2, 3, and now 4, you'd be making him basically a 5-time champion going into Mania against whoever you got set up to face him. So you see, business-wise and strategy-wise, it does make sense. Sure, it's going to piss a lot of fans off. And true, it might, in some eyes, devalue what he did at Mania, but you know what? From a WWE's business standpoint, it makes sense. It makes sense because WWE wants him to look strong, wants Lesnar to look strong at the Big Fours now, because those are mainly like the big ones. Those are like from a UFC, when you look at it from a UFC standpoint, like a big anniversary pay-per-view, like let's say a UFC 175 or a UFC 200. So technically, that's exactly what they're doing. They're going with that strategy, but when it comes to the smaller pay-per-views, if Lesnar has to appear there, they're going to say, you know what? These are not as big as the Big Four. Let's have them lose. So to me, I think that's the business strategy. You're going to have probably Cena retain, which I'm not saying will happen, but it's possible. It's possible. You're going to have Cena retain, maybe lose to Rollins when Rollins cashes in, or something happens and Rollins goes bankrupt. And then you're going to have Cena maybe carry the belt up until at least Survivor Series, maybe lose it to Lesnar if Lesnar appears there, or maybe even lose it to, who knows, maybe Batista, as crazy as that sounds. And then you can have Lesnar come back and face Batista at the Royal Rumble. It makes sense from a business standpoint. From a business standpoint, it makes sense. And from a strategy standpoint, it makes sense. Because again, when you take a look at those records between the two, it makes a lot of sense. So that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say here, folks, for this video, sort of a response to what Solomonster said and OTRSCentral Schleck Daddy said. But again, my main thing is you have to realize the differences between both companies. Not both companies, but between the WWE and other companies. Because the WWE is not always going to be, or not always going to try to be, like a Ring of Honor, a Shikara, an Evolve, a Dragon Gate, a CZW, or any of those indie territories or promotions. They're the WWE. They're going to be different. They're not going to be like a TNA, and decide, hey, we're going to go 8 sides instead of 6 sides. No. They're the WWE. They're always going to be the WWE. They're going to be doing things the way they have done for over 50 years. So I think, honestly, you guys need to start looking at the differences between the WWE. That's all I'm going to say. And again, I do ask, are you happy with Lesnar being champion? Because I hope you enjoy your happiness, because it may not last not even a month. Or may not even last a month because of what could happen in Night of Champions. Again, you take a look at the records between the major 4 Lesnar's records when it comes to being on the major 4 and being on the in your house like style events. So let me know what you guys think. I know this went long. Take your time in listening to it, but let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll talk to you all later.